What's up everybody, it's RobinGaming here. Got some nice kills and Shadowfall gameplay in the background, but today I actually wanted to talk about a somewhat more normal topic that isn't really that related to gaming, more towards YouTube in general and the way that they've been giving just YouTubers or people who love watching videos on YouTube, and specifically also gamers, how they've been giving those people, reasons to start hating on them a lot more and complaining about the, about the YouTube service all in all. And I just wanted to give you my personal opinion on that, kind of like pointing out 3 examples that I have, and yeah, just sharing you my opinion on that. So let's start off. Now, for some reason YouTube finds it necessary to just have a new layout for their website every year, and I mean, this is one of those things where I see a lot of people complaining about that. For example, the new layout that we have right now, which was like implemented I think a few months ago, it kind of got rid of the whole customization thing for channels. So I had this really nice background for my own channel with a Battlefield character and an Uncharted character, Nathan Drake and stuff. And yeah, they got rid of that and kind of made every channel have the same sort of structure with the same small banner that they can have, which they can customize. But it's just not really, it doesn't really make it that personal anymore. It kind of like makes it all the same. And then there's the normal YouTube website where they added a lot of white spaces and kind of like to make things more modern, I guess. But a lot of people were just complaining about them, and this is where if it isn't broke, don't fix it pretty much comes into play, because nobody really asks for these layouts to be changed, but still they go ahead and do that. And I get that it pisses people off. For me personally, I mean, I don't really mind, to be honest. Like, yeah, at first it kind of all seems that it is getting worse and worse, but then after a few weeks you kind of get used to it, and everybody is just able to live with it. So that's definitely not the worst thing. Now the second thing, which did pretty much really pissed me off, to be honest, is the Google Plus integration into YouTube. So I mean, yeah, Google bought YouTube, and Google wants to be this company that does everything. When they saw the big success of Facebook, of course they made Google Plus their own social network, but what it all comes down to is that nobody really wants Google Plus. I mean, sure, it may be a pretty good website, or a good service, what should I call that, good social media website, I guess, but not really a lot of people use it. People still stick to Facebook. I didn't use Google Plus at all, and I wasn't looking to use it until they decided that they wanted to just force people to make use of it if they wanted to, for example, post comments on YouTube. And they're pretty much just restricting us, like in the exact same way that people were hating on the Xbox for pretty much forbidding used games and making you able, or actually just disabling you to be offline when you want to play your games. You always had to be connected, and this is kind of the same thing with YouTube and Google now, where it was like, well, if you want to post a comment on a video, then you better have Google Plus now, because if you don't, well, you simply can't post a comment anymore. It just sucks. And even though the Google Plus integration isn't that massive, you just link it to a normal page that you have that you can simply create within a few seconds. It still sucks because people just don't want to use it, and you shouldn't force people to start using it. People want to have the choice. People want to say, okay, well, I mean, yeah, Google Plus could have its advantages to link that to YouTube, but still, you aren't forced to do that. But if you want to, then that's great, because those extra features that you can only have if you have Google Plus will make it worth to do that. But that's not what YouTube does. They are just like, you have to get Google Plus if you want to be able to post comments on YouTube, or actually just continue any activity. I think YouTubers were pretty much forced to link it to Google Plus, so I had to do that as well. But now lately, with the recent, you probably heard of it, the Content ID claims, the whole copyright system that YouTube has. Now that is also really pissing me off at the moment. The way that I think it's kind of this story. YouTube was being sued from left and right by all these companies because people were uploading movies, full movies, and what was it, music as well, I guess, on the site, on YouTube itself. And of course, movie companies or something weren't happy with that. They don't want their full 3-hour movies to be published on a website where it's just free to watch them. That's not something they want, of course. That's pretty obvious. I mean, they always had this copyright system that was able to detect music or certain, movies or whatever sort of content that had a sort of like copyright, restriction. Then they were able to detect that. However, people were still doing it, and people still found ways, and I guess the whole Content ID system wasn't as good to detect everything. So they kind of like had to really improve on that content ID system. But what that brought with it is that they now really have these copyright notices that are being, you know, handed out to YouTubers for whatever they do. If it's 15 seconds of a game trailer already, you are getting a copyright, you know, warning. And you know, if you are someone who monetizes that video and makes money with YouTube, you can't do that now anymore, because a lot of the stuff that you put up will be copyrighted. And it's kind of stupid how, you know, you are seeing Killzone Shadowfall now, you are seeing that multiplayer footage right now. I won't get any copyright notice for this because that's just fine. However, if I was gonna upload, for example, single player footage that would have a certain part of a soundtrack which had like copyright on it, then that would mean that my video would be claimed by a certain company, you know, the company who owns that music. And I gotta say, I'm not that pissed off about it because I don't make a lot of money on YouTube. You know, with every video that I do, it gets maybe a few thousand views. That's really, you know, not more than a few dollars. That's it. However, for the big YouTubers, I get that it's very frustrating that a lot of their videos have been claimed for copyright. For example, I did the Looking Back series, if you can still remember that. And I think 3 out of the 5 parts received a copyright claim because I used certain trailer footage. And it just sucks. I mean, like I said, not that I really care that much, but for these big YouTubers, it just says like, well, sorry, you can't do this. And it's unfair, you know. I mean, I upload a part of a trailer, of a game trailer, and I talk over that. You know, I talk about the trailer itself, or I talk about the specific game, and it still makes it my own content. At least that's what I think. You know, these companies like Ubisoft and Electronic Arts, they actually allow you to do that. Like, they are fine with you uploading their game because it's just marketing. Like what I am doing right now by showing you this Killzone Shadowfall footage is actually marketing the game, because you see that game and you might think, whoa, it looks really awesome, I might get that. You know, all in all, gaming videos on YouTube are pure marketing. It's pure promoting games, and in the end it will just make the companies who own that sort of content get more money because people buy their games. That's what I don't get about it. And it's not like they actually complain, but it's YouTube who doesn't want you to upload that kind of stuff. And it just doesn't make sense. And I get that you know, they have to do this kind of stuff because they are being sued by all these companies. But still, it makes me kind of like think, well, yeah, well, I mean, is there really a future for gaming on YouTube? They are just telling you, no, you can't upload things that have to do with gaming. And yeah, I mean, that just sucks. And all in all, I get that people have been complaining a lot and being pissed off about YouTube. And that counts for me as well, because, you know, with all these recent changes, I'm definitely not happy with that. Yeah, I mean, but what can we do about it? It's this massive company now. It's even being owned by Google right now. And I mean, you can't do anything against Google because they are a multi you know, billion-dollar company. What can you do against it? Nothing. That's the stupid thing. It's kind of like they are just forcing you things and you can't do anything about it. You want to use their service, so they can just, if they want, they just won't listen to you anymore. They can just implement all these new changes. You just have to listen to them, whether you want it or not. So that's kind of like, you know, my thoughts on it. But of course, let me know your opinion on this topic. So what do you think about all the recent changes, you know, like Google Plus integration, the content ID system, and also these new layouts? I think the layouts is something that everybody can talk about because it just influences us all. But for now, I just really want to thank you a lot for watching, and I hope to see you again next time.
I know.